Hey, Hillberries.
Hey, you babes. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Episode 6.
Yeah, we in here. We're back. Episode 6. I am Dream.
And I'm ChrisE. Welcome to Healing Uncut.
So glad you're still listening. We appreciate you.
Not for real.
No, for real, for real. But yeah. So let's check in.
So, on the wheel, our wheel of emotions. How are you?
hmm Yeah. You want me to go first?
Oh, yeah, I'm asking you, how are you feeling?
Oh, see, okay. Well, when I looked at the wheel a minute ago, I came up with I am annoyed, highly annoyed. That's if I could put my emotions in words, it would be annoyed. And annoyed falls under the mad category. But yeah, that's where I'm feeling because co-parenting with someone that you are healing from or a situation, relationship that you're healing from is very frustrating.
Mm.
And presently I am highly annoyed with having to do that. So that's where I'm at. I don't feel like my vibe is off. And I've been trying to stay in a good space and still move because before I would definitely shut down and not do things. But I'm trying. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
And I'm like, big ups to you for trying. We
Thank you,
are
baby.
we are making progress. We're making
hmm
progress.
I know. Like it feels good to be in that space. I wasn't here a while ago. So yeah.
I am anxious, and that falls under be afraid.
hmm
And it's just like I was looking at that and I'm like, afraid. Am I afraid? Like,
hmm
so later I'm gonna journal about that. I need to sit with that a moment because I don't know why I haven't associated anxious with afraid.
mm
If that's what it is, I need to think about that.
Right. What are you anxious about?
Shit, the future, everything.
Okay.
Like, um,
Okay, I know it was something specific, but yeah, just life.
just
What's to
like
come.
um, I'm anxious about being an entrepreneur. Um, I'm still having anxiety making content. Um, I'm looking, I'm anxious, like I set goals, but not really goals. So I made a list, I guess you call them goals. I made a list of things that I wanted to do.
hmm
And I'm feeling like I should be further along.
hmm
And so I don't know. I honestly don't know if that's like a real feeling or am I being like, not me, not, let me not say a real feeling. I don't know if that's a rational feeling.
hmm
Like, am I being irrational? Am I, um, what's the word? Am I setting like ridiculous expectations?
hmm
Like things like that.
Yeah.
Not giving myself enough grace. Like, where's
I,
the,
I was just about to ask you that. I'm like, are you giving yourself grace?
and then it's just like, well, how much grace? And
hmm
too much? Like, am I coddling myself? Am I holding myself back?
hmm
I'm just like, I don't know.
But when you say like you feel like you should be further along, like are you setting your own bar, your own standard, or are you kind of comparing it to like the people around you, or what you see like online?
Um, not, I'm like, no, I don't have anybody to compare to be honest. I think it's me. Okay, I'm like,
Mhm.
Now we really healing out loud because I'm thinking in real time. I'm like, I think it's me. Um, I okay. I want to see. I want to feel some kind of achievement, or and I haven't felt that.
Mm,
So it's how does this feel? If and should I be looking at how it feels, or should I logically things are fine?
mhm,
Is this extra? Is this I'm really in limbo at this point. I'm trying I really have to figure out okay, let's do an easy one. Exercising.
mhm,
So it's okay, I did set an expectation that I would exercise once a day.
mhm,
I've been hitting, so that's 5 times a week, right?
mm,
Monday to Friday,
yeah,
or even 7 days. So every day, 7 days. I don't know. I guess you travel rest day in there. I've been hitting 2 to 3 days a week.
mhm,
So it's I think I kind of bargain with myself, that's good. You did good, 2 to 3 times, but it's just okay, but I'm not hitting the mark.
yeah,
I'm not. And then I think well, why did I go to 7 days? Why do I need to work out 7 days a week? And it's well, you're trying to form a habit, just trying to.
mhm,
Does that make sense? I feel like I'm on.
right. And no, it makes sense. It makes sense.
So I'm just feeling anxious, and I really want to settle out. I want to, but I'm definitely going to sit with that. Anxious is afraid, and so what am I afraid
Right. Because when I think about anxious, it's like I could see how it could fall under afraid too, because it's like if I'm anxious about something, it's just like, am I afraid of the outcome? Am I afraid of what may not happen or how I may feel, if the outcome isn't what I expect or how people are going to view me, you know what I'm saying? So it may be like, it may not feel like you're afraid, I guess, but like maybe like subconsciously. But
of?
even when you're just talking about the exercise, I mean, it might help not setting the bar like all the way up here so soon. Because I know like you just joined the gym, so you know what I'm saying. It's like maybe work your way up to 7 days. Like okay, I'm gonna start off with at least making three. You know what I'm saying, and then kind of like add up. Maybe that'll help, so you
Okay,
won't feel so bad on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we all want to work out 7 days a week, but we just all not there.
right. I'm I want to be those fit people. I want to.
Yeah. And they didn't start there either. So, you know what I mean? They had to start somewhere. And I just got a spin bike.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm excited. I got the bike. That's the first step. So I'm like, okay, I have to just work in actually getting on it. So it's in there.
it's a guy on Instagram, and he be just saying some wild stuff.
The
Come on,
Peloton guy.
huh?
The Peloton guy.
Yes.
Yeah, I see
Come
him.
on, girl. Right
Mm-hmm.
away from your man, right away from that, or say your ex or something, right past him. What?
I probably need him. I'm gonna have to find him. But yeah.
Yeah, look on YouTube. Fine. I'm oh. And some of those classes, they be doing a lot. I didn't know you could do, they be going up and down and try to dance or stuff. I'm I
No, I haven't seen all that. I know they have spin classes, but I've never gone to one. I just heard they were hard.
went to one, but the seat was so uncomfortable. I'm I can't.
Mm,
I'm mm-mm. I'm there ain't enough padding back there. I need a.
yeah.
I'm that little seat was hard. I need a pillow.
See, I used to go bike riding when I was younger. like a
Mm.
lot, like as a family thing.
We did that.
So we gonna see. We gonna see how it works. But yeah, we today we were supposed to be talking about dating, which is exciting. Which
Healing.
is
You said dating, right?
huh?
Yes.
Dating after healing and while healing.
Yes, yes, yes. There are, this is really, I think it's like I want to say touchy subject, but
Mm-hmm.
I think there's so many people offering advice about
Mm-hmm.
dating. And I'm like, you're missing, like, do you find it superficial? I don't know. Like the things that they say that they're looking for or things to do while dating.
Um, what you mean, like for example?
Like, um, if he doesn't,
Oh,
he's not into you, or make sure he has, I don't know, like, oh,
I was like those things.
if he doesn't pay for your valet,
Oh, okay, yeah. No, some of those people are definitely OD, like, for real. But I think it's definitely it's like a spectrum. I think it's definitely good to like have standards, like expectations, because what you may expect may not be what I expect. You know what I'm saying? Even when it comes to that. So I really think the whole city girl thing really messed up a lot of people. Or
mm,
just like the conversation about dating, relationships, and all of that. To where men are paranoid that something's gonna happen or somebody just wants him for money, especially money that they don't have. I definitely see that conversation. I'm just like, okay. But then on the other side, it's like you want what you want. You know what I mean? And I just feel like it's definitely somebody out there who God designed for you, like that will have the things that you want. I don't think that you should like change, you know, your standards, but I also think you should be realistic.
oh, so definitely a major, like, Dream, you said a major key. You you need to be aware. You need to be self-aware.
Hmm.
I think healthy dating, when you're more self-aware, you know what you like, you know what you don't like, you know your do's and don'ts, you know like what's a hard no.
Right.
Self-aware, you're going to date healthily. Some things are just not going to, you're not going to put up with, or I
And
just,
just
or being like you said, being realistic. When you're
right.
self-aware, you can be realistic. I just, one thing I want our sisters to get freed from, like, please, nobody need, like, he gotta make some astronomical amount of money.
Hmm.
That is like what, 1%
Yeah, I
of the
learned that.
calculation. Like,
I learned that. Yeah, yeah.
baby girl.
I mean, and this being realistic, the higher you go up salary wise, it's like it's a lot of people competing for not that many spots. You know what I'm saying? To me, I don't see other women as my competition, but I also want to be realistic. You know what I mean? But I'm also not about to like date down.
Okay.
It makes it hard. And I think when you're healing, like if you like you were saying, being self-aware, like if you aren't like confident or your self-esteem isn't quite there, then you will be more likely to like date down if you don't think that you deserve like what you want
Mhm.
or what you need. Like you gotta kind of know what works for you. Like the love languages, that was like kind of buzzword for quite a while on social media, but definitely the attachment styles, I think that's like side by side with the love languages, when you start dating while healing or either after.
I honestly think like that's your attachment style needs to be before you trying to love somebody. Like, no, because
Because
that
it's
goes back to trauma bonds, right?
right. And then it's gonna affect how you show love, how you receive love. That's it's big. That's the biggest part. It's like, okay, and am I gonna be freaking out when he doesn't answer the phone or when he goes on a weekend trip away? Like, how am I gonna feel? And it's just like, what if your partner has a job where he's not always home? Are you just gonna be like paranoid and blowing his phone up and freaking out just because he's not there and you think that he's gonna leave? Like, no. It's a lot that goes into it.
Definitely is.
So it's just like if you feel like you aren't in the space to recognize those things, then you should definitely probably not be dating. You probably need to take that sabbatical with your heart, definitely.
Okay, so that's the key word, sabbatical.
Hmm.
Um, when you say sabbatical, so what are you? I mean, everybody, like clearly we know the definition, but sabbatical with your heart.
Hmm.
What are you doing during that time? You're taking time to do what?
During that time, I think it's like you being intentional with becoming self aware, becoming more confident in yourself, like learning yourself. Especially like if you've been through trauma, it's like figuring out the trauma that I've been through. How did that show up? Presently, how will that show up in my relationships? Because a lot of times, a lot of people have been through these things and really haven't sat down with it to see how they've been affected or why they are the way they are. Because, a lot of times things have happened and that's why you have attitude. That's why you are emotionally unavailable. So during that time it's just like you really figuring out yourself, you're pouring into yourself and you're able to think clearly. You don't have to be thinking about him or this one or what they're doing or why they didn't do that. Like you're really just pouring into yourself and whoever else around you is important, but it's like the main focus is definitely you. That's when you're able to learn, oh, what's my attachment style, the love languages, like my self-esteem. Like, okay, like for example, for me, it's like, yes, I got separated and divorced, and, as far as like working, that whole dynamic and everything, it's just like, yeah, I know I'm in a space to where I need to take a break from that because I know like right now I'm pursuing purpose and God has made provision for me to do the things that I have to do. That don't mean I'm dating down. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not about to just get somebody that can't like take care of themselves. Me, like, no, it's like you still have to have standards. So it's just like once you take that sabbatical, you become confident in yourself. Like I know who I am. You know what I'm saying? I just held down a whole man and his kid for like 10 years. Stop playing with me. Like, no. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, no. Mm-mm.
I I met my husband during my sabbatical. Well, really
Mhm.
towards the end, I had actually gotten to a point. So I had gotten to a point where it's just like I'm willing to talk again. I want to I was ready. I was at a place where I was ready to put myself back out there.
Mhm.
So, uh, you know, join Tinder, right?
Okay.
And I know people like, oh, that's cringy. Like, you join Tinder. However, I initially, when I joined, I was like, I'm going to put these tools to use. Like,
Mhm.
I want to practice communicating. I want to see how I show up. Like, I was very intentional and very reflective of how, you know, certain messages with guys, like, well, why did that go this way? Why did this one lead to a date? Like, uh,
Mhm.
I think after I took that much needed self time and became self aware, that's when I was like, okay, let's get back out there and let's I think the last part of that sabbatical is seeing like, this is what I said I like. What does it look
Mhm.
like in real time?
Mhm.
This is what I'm used to. Does that truly fulfill me now that I know what I,
Mhm.
or how I, how I attach? Like, is this beneficial? Is it healthy? You need
Right.
to, I truly believe like you have to start over, and not start over in a sense where you're like, oh, my starting lineup, I need 5 on the roster ASAP. Like, no, this is like you are dating with a purpose.
Mhm.
You're like you said, you're not dating down. You're actually choosing quality,
Mhm.
know your own worth.
Quality over quantity, okay.
Okay. And
Definitely don't put all your eggs in one basket, but mm-mm.
I think when when you are self-aware and when you do take that time and you rebuild yourself, you're working on self-esteem, you're practicing self-love, and you truly, I don't even know another way, but you truly are aware,
Mhm.
and that's when you can date intentionally. And then I think that's when dating will be the healthiest.
Right. That's real.
What do you think
I
about that?
I'm just like I didn't take a sabbatical from the beginning, so
Oh, okay, wait.
so when I joined the online dating world, yeah, it wasn't that. I'm like, mm-mm. And I had to take a step back. I'm like, oh, I need to get my thoughts together. And then it's just like these men are triggering me in ways that this past person did, and I'm like, I don't know how to respond. So now I'm spazzing, or I'm getting smart with you because you saying something that he would say, or, doing something that is familiar. So it's just like, you gotta understand like triggers or things that did happen in past situations or past relationships. So that way you aren't taking it into new situations and then kind of ruining that from the beginning. So that's why that time is important.
Oh, okay. I like you kind of segue. Well, I'm trying to segue
Oh,
because
okay.
you're saying past triggers and things that he did would show up, and then so now you're reacting. Do you think that sex is going to um amplify that? Is it going to make it worse?
Mm. So I mean, honestly, I thought about that and I'm still on the fence. I'm not gonna lie about that. I mean, because just for me, for example, I mean, I obviously like sex, but I also know that I'm comfortable doing it with no strings attached, no emotional attachment at all. Like if you start liking me, I'm gonna cut you off. Like that was just comfortable. That was me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, for me, I feel like no, but I also feel like that's not a healthy way to go about like sex. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, that's not healthy for me or somebody that has like an attachment style, like an avoidant attachment style, because or someone that's not emotionally available. So I mean, it does have potential. I feel like the transferring of energy and spirits, yes. Because if you land down with somebody who's depressed or insecure, and the next thing you know, you feeling depressed and insecure. Because I definitely started to feel that from the person that I was with. I'm like, oh no, that's real. Because I've never had like low self esteem. Where is this coming from? Like I always felt like I was that bitch. You know what I'm saying? So this is not me. That had to be coming from him. So I mean, I do feel like those things are possible. Um, but yeah, like I'm in a space where I'm figuring it out. So right now, I'm like, I'm good. I'm not trying to add to nobody to my roster in that way.
Mhm.
But I'm just like right now, it's just like I gotta focus on self. So
Okay.
that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
What you think though?
I and and I'm like, you know, two peas in a pod, child.
I know. I'm like, girl, you know me. I'm just saying.
So, um, before I was even like seriously considering marriage, I was very much, I'm gonna say that I was moving off hurt. I was very guarded. And so it was very easy for me to be not attached, not emotionally attached, unemotional. Um,
Hmm.
I'll call you when I need you.
Okay, and you know that.
And if I need, if I'm feeling like company, then I'll call you.
Hmm.
Otherwise, so yeah, I think in that sense, I had to stop because I didn't want to carry that same thing into um my permanent relationship, you know, the relationship where I'm like, if I'm ready to get married, I cannot be acting like this. Like, not only can I not act, I can't move off hurt that way. Um,
Right.
I can't always be guarded. And becoming vulnerable is extremely hard to do after you've had your walls up and you're used to not letting anybody in.
Hmm.
So for me, I took sex off the table. I became abstinent because I wanted to be clear. Not that I wanted to be clear, but I wanted to be sure what I was building. Like, I'm not keeping you around because we have fun in those times. I wanted it to be deeper. I wanted it to stop being so, you know, hard. I wanted to become vulnerable. And
Right.
I knew I couldn't do that with multiple people or just anybody. So
Hmm.
I removed that from, like, just from the equation, just so I could be intentional child. So I could be intentional of how I was having sex,
Hmm.
and be intentional about forming that relationship. So
I have a question though.
yeah,
What you were saying. So let's just say you're doing that, but in the back of your mind, you know what you like when it comes down to sex, to every aspect of it. So it's just like what I'm gonna do? Like, or what if you go all the way and it's not hitting like how you need to hit?
I would be devastated.
I think about that movie on Netflix, and I'm like, no, I felt that, so I'm like,
I would be devastated. And so that's
look, don't blame us if that happens to anybody that's listening to this. That is not our fault. That's not what we said.
but and I'm thinking, like, I'm cracking up because I was, oh my God, like, Lord, you know me.
That's it. That's how I be like, Lord, you know me. You know me.
Like, please please don't play me in this.
Don't
It's
make me strong in this area, please, Lord.
so I do believe, um, I do believe that there's ways to find out without finding out.
Hmm. You could feel the BDE. Is that what it is?
No,
Yeah.
I mean, that's, well, yes, but no,
I'm just messing with you right now, but no, for real. Because I'm like, I don't people. That's like stuff that people think about. Like, wait, how are we gonna know?
because like I'm like, and what is that like?
What
Do
is that?
what is that energy? What is that energy for real?
They had to be lying. That's just toxicness. That's what that is.
I'm like, that's just another one of those buzzwords. But
Yes.
what I'm really thinking about is, you find a lot through like candid conversations.
Hmm.
I was about to say go dancing. Like
Yeah, that's real. Cuddle.
cuddle. It's like
Cuddle. You feel me? Go swimming.
at least I have an idea.
Yeah, right. It's like,
But I do, um, you'll know. I do believe you now.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
know.
that comes with time, you know what I'm saying? Like the more time you spend together, going out on dates, like, you know.
But I had to like make a promise to myself that if everything like if everything else was good, I would put like 100% energy into making that area better. So
Yeah.
I did. I was like you can't have like, oh, I just feel like that's devastating. Oh God, it just makes me so sad. I'm so happy there's that much struggle. But I did have to have an honest moment and just be like, yo, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna do everything humanly possible to make it work 100%.
Right.
Nothing's off the table. Get a swing, get
Right. Something.
get
A little
bubbles,
pillow to get a little angle.
get therapists. Like,
Yeah, no, that part.
uh,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Yeah. And then it don't I know my sisters want to be married, but don't make sure that it's something that you want to do. Because if you unsure about it and then you get married and you like, wait, no, actually I don't it's just not hitting for me. Even with all those things, then it's yeah, just pray about it.
I'm like, no, you gotta pray about it.
Yeah.
Have to be absolutely sure. Like, don't play yourself.
Hmm.
That's the where that
Yeah.
self-aware come in. Like
What'd you say?
that self-awareness. Like,
Oh, okay. Right. Because you got to know if that's, I mean, Summer I Hill Bays, that may not be at the top of the list. Like for me, it's not number one, but it's definitely top three.
oh, for
Like, I mean, you got to know who you are. You know what I'm saying? You can't pretend with yourself because you're going to find yourself unhappy. So it's just like that's why you need that sabbatical. That's why you need that time to figure these things out because they're going to come up, and you don't want it to come up in a time where you're caught off guard or you're stuck in a crossroads. Like, oh, I really like him, but mm-mm. You know what I mean? Like you got to know what works for you and what doesn't.
okay. So
But yeah.
let me leave with a or what would Jesus do?
Mhm.
And so I'm coming from Proverbs 4:23, and it says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it.
Mhm.
Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from
Mm.
it. And for me, I truly believe you can't love anyone if you don't love yourself first. If you don't
Mhm.
if you can't experience that for yourself, like people, a lot of people are like, oh, self-love, self-care. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Mhm.
So I do believe like practicing that self-esteem, learning your attachment styles, learning your love languages, um, all of those things is getting to the heart of you and loving you as a person. And then everything else can come from that, you know?
Mhm.
So,
That was good.
so
I love that. Yes, you have to love yourself, and that way you can like show people how to love you. You know.
we got
And you
come
won't accept the bare minimum or things that don't work for you, you know. So if you set that standard of self-love for yourself, then it'll people will be able to see, okay, that's the bar that they've set when it comes to loving. Because if you accept anything less than that, you're not, that means you're not showing yourself that love.
you're not, and you're
So,
not guarding your heart. You're opening
right.
it up.
Right. And if your heart is broken, you're pouring out broken love. Like, no, that's you don't want that because then you're gonna get that in return. And that's not where we are anymore. That's not what the journey is about.
Oh, I love this. This is great.
Oh. Yeah, make sure y'all follow us on Instagram, Heal and Uncut Podcast, and Heal Pretty. And I am Christina Eaton. So
Yes.
yeah.
Affectionately known as Chrissy.
Now,
Until next time. Bye, you guys.
happy healing. Bye bye.